It blew my mind how majority of society underestimates the gorilla. Like people treat gorillas like they're pretty weak on the animal chain.
Yeah, absolutely
I mean,
not.
the gorilla could probably take the guy with a gun and rip every one of his limbs off pretty quickly.
Oh, with ease. Welcome to the opening bell of the NFL Stock Exchange podcast. I'm Trevor Sikkema. That is Connor Rogers joining you guys on a midweek edition of the show. If you checked out the mock draft that we did on Monday, salute to you. We appreciate it. We got a ton of comments, ton of traction. We're still going back and forth with you guys going over the results of our latest mock draft. But Connor, at the end of that episode, we had an idea, as we often plan the pod on the pod, and it was
Always.
a totally random thought that we are actually running with, because we saw a couple of comments. We actually got a couple of responses of people who said this would be hilarious. This would be a great idea. It'd be informative. It'd be fun. So we're doing it. The structure of today's show is that Connor has a notepad and I have a notepad, and we are going to literally hold up topics, questions, statements that the other person has to respond to. Neither of us have seen the questions, statements, whatever it is that the other person has written down. So Connor, it started off as kind of a throwaway at the end of the episode as we were dilly-dallying around wrapping up the podcast. But here we are, man. I think this is going to be a lot of fun, especially from the ones that I've written down already.
I think so, too. I was having a blast while doing this. I was thinking about it on my drive to work this morning, different ideas, because quite frankly, Trevor, the industry you and I are in, what this show is all built around, more often than not is very structured. Now, the addicts and everybody that's listening to the show knows you and I can get off script as good as anybody in the biz. But for the most part, you get your mock drafts, you get your analysis of games, you get your prospect rankings, and you get discussions like that. This is the first time in a long time where you and I could sit down and just chew the fat on topics that we'll see where it goes. Right. So I really can't wait to do this. I think it's going to be really funny, and I think it's going to be a chance for us to talk about some stuff in a different way than we usually get to.
Also, I want to say this at the beginning of the podcast, because if anybody is noticing, so if you'll notice that the door is now over here on my screen, that's because I had no idea that while we are recording every single one of these episodes, I've actually had my camera flipped. So when I tested it and held up the letters and the words, they were all completely backwards. So now I'm flipping it over, and now you guys are seeing me in actual real time. So if you wonder how the door went from one side to the other, well, I've been bulking up and I've been lifting a little bit. So I just picked it up and I moved it to the other side of the room. But no, this is going to be fun, man. I agree. Some of these are more serious than the others. Right. Some of them I think will answer a little bit more seriously than the other, but I've got a couple in here that I think could have some really great discussion. And as I was thinking about these questions and statements and everything to write down, I also thought about the people who listen to the show and how, man, after this episode, I can't wait to get into the comments and hear people kind of going back and forth and get to talk about these things with you guys as well. So, brother, you want to kick it off? You can do the honors and do the first one if you would like.
Yes. So I think and we love our YouTube audience, so you guys stay pat. You're all good here. You could see it yourself. I think for our audio only people, Trevor, when I hold it up, it's probably best if you read it.
Okay. This is good. This is well thought out by you. This is why you are the pro co-host here on this show.
Well, I get a lot of practice at this. During my day job with Fantasy Football Happy Hour, I often forget that we also do the show on Peacock and YouTube and all these places, but there is a large audio-only base, people that run, work out, whatever. So I got used to like reading stuff out loud, and it's just kind of one of those things. So let's kick it off. This is a half serious, half fun one this early.
Okay.
Here you go, Trevor, right off the top.
Okay. These QBs play where in 2024? Caleb Williams, Daniel Jones, Kirk Cousins.
And as I see it on mine, only on as we record this, I tested this before and made sure it wouldn't be backwards, and it's looking like it came up backwards for you. So good job of that. I like that our recording platform decided to pull that one on me, but a good read by you, my friend.
No, I'm just extremely dyslexic.
It all worked out for you.
Like worse than the letters switching, the letters being completely reversed. I don't know the medical terminology for that one. But okay, so where will the quarterbacks play 2024? Caleb Williams, Daniel Jones, and Kirk Cousins. Oh, man, this actually goes really well with one of the questions that I have, because the first name that I would want to tackle would be Daniel Jones. And I would tell you that Daniel Jones is going to be on the Giants. Like, I think that the deal that he signed, it's a 2-year deal minimum. I think that whether or not he's going to be the starting quarterback, and we'll get into a little bit more of how possible or not possible that would be in one of my questions. I think that he has to be there, right? Because what's the dead cap hit next year? Isn't it still like 69 million?
It is 69.3 million, and even a post June is 47.1.
God, I'm a sicko that I just know that off the top of my head. Golly.
A trade post June.
What are you doing to me, Giants? You got me looking up Danny Jones' contract already.
A trade post June 1 is 11.1. I just don't see it. I kind of put him in the middle there as a landmine. I was like, I know Trevor's going to say he's going to stay with the Giants, but I think it's a really interesting thing we're talking about right now.
Right. No, I agree with you completely. I mean, that's one that you, and again, I think we're going to be able to expand that conversation a little bit in one of the questions that I have, because you look at that and you would say from the contract, oh, of course, like he's going to be on the Giants next year. No question about it. But depending on how high the Giants pick, that doesn't mean he's necessarily going to be the starter, especially if Brian Daboll continues to be as not happy with Daniel Jones as felt like we saw the other week. So, okay, Kirk Cousins, where is he playing next year?
He's the toughest one, right? Of the three?
He is. Yeah, because I think Caleb Williams is Chicago.
Like, you are.
Well, yeah, basically. I think that one's too easy. Somebody in the comments said that we need to come up with another Will Levis, you are a Colt. And I said back to him, I was like, it's got to be natural. It's got to come up very naturally.
Right, yes.
Caleb Williams, you are a Chicago Bear, I feel like is too
It's not as fun because he's the number one overall pick as it stands today, where Will Levis, like, as we saw, Will Levis could have gone anywhere in the draft.
We didn't know where Will Levis was going to go in the draft. We didn't know where the Colts were going to be picking in the draft, but the movement continued. And, oh, man, we were so close. They're very happy with Anthony Richardson. They should be.
Yes. Good job, Colts.
So the first destination that I have that pops out that we've talked about before is New England, is the New England Patriots potentially being a landing spot for Kirk Cousins, because I wrote a mock draft and we talked about the mock draft, this scenario back on Monday. Do you think that a non-Caleb Williams or Drake Maye quarterback is going to be enticing enough for the Patriots to draft one between, let's say, picks 7 and 15? Maybe, but maybe not. But I think that the Patriots and Bill Belichick specifically would convince themselves that, hey, if we sign Kirk Cousins in the offseason and then we go draft Malik Neighbors and we sign one other wide receiver, right? Maybe this looks completely different. Maybe this offense gets to be completely different. So that's the one that I come back to selling myself on the most is the New England Patriots.
I agree. I think that it makes a lot of sense. Now, I guess the biggest thing you'd have to wonder is Cousins, his preference is pretty clear how comfortable he's in Kevin O'Connell's system, which derives from Sean McVay. And he obviously was very comfortable in Shanahan's system. Brock Purdy kind of changes everything because we know Shanahan's infatuation rather to Kirk Cousins. Now you have Brock Purdy, who could genuinely just be younger Kirk Cousins in a certain way for Shanahan. So I kind of don't look at San Francisco anymore.
He's got to get that Kohl's sponsorship if that's the case.
Yeah.
Did you from the QB documentary, how like his entire closet is just like, it looks like he's just, straight Kohl's.
Which, I mean, he's the quarter zip king, basically, is what it looks like.
I mean, let's be real, though. If you live above, I would say, the state of like Georgia, we're all aspiring to just be the quarter zip king when winter comes around, We're all trying to look that good.
It takes over the entire city of New York in about 3 weeks from now. So, man, I can't even come up with another one that just aligns so much until we know where the draft order lies. And that's why I think New England is the most logical, because you're right. They're never gonna be a team that picks in the top 5, we don't think. But they're also not good.
Yeah, I have 2 other ones that are possible. The Titans are one of them.
For sure.
They really don't believe in Willis or Levis.
Yep.
But I find that tough to believe, given the fact that both Willis and Levis and Ryan Tannehill as well, at his best in Tennessee, they bring you more of that running option where Kirk Cousins is not. So that's the one where I think there's an opening, but I don't love it. The sneaky one.
I wonder if we're thinking the same thing here.
A return to Washington?
Oh,
because I'm not trying to throw Sam Howell to the wayside. We got a long year here, and Sam Howell has looked good at times, and of course he's looked like a young first-time starter at times. If the year goes poorly for them and Cousins becomes available, and if that defense still looks as stout as it can be a year from now, and that receiving core is still pretty dang nice, and they make some investments along the offensive line to get younger, more talent in there, whatever it is, Washington, even with Philadelphia and Dallas in there, they could convince themselves that little reunion here, they could be competing for that division, or at least competing for some sort of playoff spot in the NFC. So that is a sneaky one that, as I'm looking at the standings and the rest of the teams in the NFL, I could envision.
You know what? One of the sneakiest ones, and this is even a little far-fetched at this moment, I just wonder what this looks like in a couple months. Say Kenny Pickett just doesn't show any progress this year. Any progress at all. Man, it's too early, and once again, I don't think this will happen.
Yeah.
But how much better do the Steelers look with Kirk Cousins at quarterback with all those weapons?
I mean, there's no way around it. Better than what they have looked lately, because Kenny has not been good this season.
Yeah, so, behind a bad offensive line, to be fair to Kenny, and now Kenny's
but Kenny has, but Pickett has also not looked great. Like I love Kenny, but he has not looked good this year. And if you're simming the season, it's not getting any better. Maybe it is a little bit tempting. I wasn't thinking of the Steelers, but maybe that one could be a little bit tempting. All right, you want to do my first one?
So you went with the Bears for Caleb Williams, right?
Yeah,
simple as that. Yeah, right. I do. I'm excited for this.
Okay, so Bears for Caleb Williams was my answer. New England for Kirk Cousins, and still the Giants for Daniel Jones.
Right.
Okay. All right. This is my first one. I don't know how spicy this is going to get. We'll see. But here, you got to read this one now.
How many NFL quarterbacks are you for sure taking over Caleb Williams? Wow. Okay.
Could get spicy.
Well, this is really, really good, because I am on the side. Like, I've seen some outrageous takes on this exact topic before.
Okay. All
right. So let's get right into the easy ones.
I was going to say, should we, how do you want to do it? Should I throw out a name and you say yes or no, and then we talk about it?
If you want to do it that way, or I could just rip off.
Okay. So
division by division quarterbacks. But if you want to throw names at me, I'm ready to roll. This is a fun one.
No, let's do the division. Let's go division by division. That's
so we'll start in the AFC East.
Okay.
Now this is like dynasty thinking, right? Because when I get to the Jets, obviously for next year, I'm taking Aaron Rodgers, but obviously I'm taking Caleb Williams over anybody they have for the long term.
You're thinking long. Yeah, we're thinking long term. I wondered how much we would get into the contract situation part of it, but I guess
I think that's fair.
Kind of go through
full picture.
Yeah, as the season goes on. So it is basically, would you take this quarterback over Caleb Williams in his situation for him to be on your team on a rookie deal? Okay.
So in the AFC East, the only quarterback I'm taking over him is Josh Allen.
I would agree.
I want to make this clear. I like Tua a lot. I was a huge Tua fan before that draft.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is functioning at a very high level in a very, I don't want to say user-friendly offense, but Tua deserves a lot of credit. I'm still taking Caleb Williams over him. So out of the AFC, only Josh Allen.
I would agree. I'm taking Josh Allen.
West, I am still taking both Mahomes and Herbert over Caleb Williams. I think Herbert
Yes, I would
is
agree.
phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Yep.
I'm obviously taking Caleb Williams on the Raiders over Jimmy, on the Broncos over Russ.
Yep.
In the AFC North, I am taking Lamar Jackson over Caleb Williams.
Mm-hmm.
I am putting Caleb Williams on the Steelers over Pickett. I am putting Caleb Williams over Deshaun Watson on the Browns.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still, just because he's been hurt and he's playing through it and he looks bad, I'm still taking Joe Burrow over Caleb Williams.
I would agree.
So far, out of the AFC East, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow. In the AFC South,
these might be the only 6, too.
I am taking Caleb Williams on every single team. Every single team, including Jacksonville. And throw every shot you want at me.
Oh, man.
No, you know what's crazy is, like, this is like September rookie hype. But this is crazy because this division, the young quarterbacks look so good.
They
like
do.
Stroud looks so good. Anthony Richardson, from an explosive play rate, looks so good. Trevor Lawrence has not been what we expected this year, but we know he's still going to be a high-end top 10 quarterback in this league, especially what he did the second half of last year. Tennessee, obviously, I'm taking Caleb over anyone, but Caleb is that kind of prospect where I'd take him over all 4 of the starters in this division. Am I crazy?
No, I wouldn't say crazy. I would disagree with you with Lawrence.
Okay.
I would take Trevor over Caleb Williams. I
totally get it. I think that's probably the closest one we'll have on here.
I would agree. I think that this is probably where the line is. I wonder how many other, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, I wonder how many other quarterbacks are going to get in here, because to me, when I was going through this exercise after I wrote the question, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, those were, did I miss one? I don't think
I think you got it.
Those were like the 6. Those were like the big 6. I'm trying to run it through in my head. I guess we'll get to the NFC ones, but Lawrence was the one I went back and forth the most on. He's just, when it looks, it's hard to discount too, because we haven't brought this part up. These are guys who have already succeeded at the NFL level. Right? We are talking about a player who has not taken an NFL snap yet. And for as alluring as he has been since his true freshman season to his Heisman season to perhaps even his second Heisman season this year, he's unbelievable. And I think that goes into the fact that we even have this debate, but I'd still take Trevor in the progress that we have seen from him. Because you got to remember too about Lawrence, throw the first year out. In fact, the first year probably did negative damage to this the early start of this guy's career. So I really do believe that, certainly from what we saw in the progression last year with Doug Peterson working hands-on with him, and even from some of the flashes that we have seen this year, although it's been a little disappointing for the Jags, when it is on for Lawrence, it's as good as it can be for a franchise quarterback. And because I've already seen that at the NFL level, I'm still taking Lawrence. So I would go Lawrence there, but I understand the flip-flop. That's a good debate.
I think it's really difficult. I mean, there's certain aspects where I'm taking Lawrence. I still think Caleb has to work on things in structure from the pocket. And I don't think he is, people painting this picture that he is this perfect prospect or he's tailor-made Patrick Mahomes when he comes to the NFL are very, very off. But the ceiling and the floor right now are pretty insane. Here's where it gets funny. I'm not doing division by division in the NFC. I am taking Caleb over every quarterback not named Jalen Hurts.
So you would take,
make sure I didn't miss anyone.
Right. Yeah. But you would take Jalen over Caleb.
Yep. There's probably a conversation there.
I'd take Caleb.
I get it.
I would take Caleb over Jalen. So we're both at 7. We just have a different final 7.
Yeah,
you'd take Hurts. I would take Lawrence.
Right. And I'm trying to think who the fringe guys are in the NFC. There's not even really any.
Right. When you went down
any.
Yeah.
Stafford's older.
Stafford's playing unbelievable, but he is older. So
great quarterback. He's just older.
If you need an NFL game, you got to win this week, you're taking Stafford. But in that situation, you're obviously taking Caleb over the rest of those guys. Yeah. I don't think there's, I'd take him over Dak. I'd take him over Goff. I'd take him over Derek Carr. Take him over Brock Purdy.
Kyler.
I'd take him over Kyler. I'd take him over Geno. Although, I mean, Geno, that's salute as well. But Yeah, I would take him over every NFC quarterback. Yep.
It kind of speaks volumes of the contrast of the conferences.
I know you went through the AFC's quarterbacks, and when you were 3 divisions in, that's why I was like, are these the only 6? Am I right?
It's crazy. It's great. And like, even if we had this conversation a year from now, the AFC South picture could be totally different. Like Richardson and Stroud and Lawrence all have a ceiling high enough where it's like, man, I really like them, honestly. Like, that's how high the ceiling is for all 3 of those young quarterbacks, where it's going to be a conversation. Where in the NFC, I just don't really, I don't feel that way.
All right, there we go. We got the same 6, and then you would take Hurts over him. I would take Lawrence over him, and those are our 7. That's one that I can't wait to hear what people have to say about it. I wonder how different people are. Maybe they're a lot higher on Caleb Williams. Maybe they're lower on different quarterbacks like Lawrence or Burrow or like whoever it is. I'm wondering if we get people who are going to argue, hey, I would take Tua and what I've seen this year over an unproven Caleb Williams who hasn't
I don't think they're crazy.
And I would love to hear from people. I'm wondering how opinionated you guys would get, but those would be my 7, and I'm sticking to it. All right, what's your next one?
The next one, I want both your opinion and what you think will happen.
Okay. All right. Shedeur Sanders, stay or go? It kind of sounds like he's staying, doesn't it?
It does, but October draft conversation is a hell of a drug. Like, it's wild how quickly things can change. Now, the coach being his dad and building something is a different variable than your normal NFL prospect.
Right. And
so I guess maybe you just give your opinion then if we do feel like it's leaning towards him staying to help build that Colorado program.
You know, I can't remember where I initially saw this, but I saw this on Twitter and I actually liked it. Shedeur is emulating what Teddy Bridgewater was at Louisville. You remember Teddy Bridgewater at Louisville?
Hell yeah,
he was so clutch. He was so accurate.
Precise.
Just fantastic anticipation. Ball placement was beautiful. Not the best athlete, but a dude who could move, a dude who could extend a little bit, who kept his eyes downfield. And I think people think of what Teddy Bridgewater has been at the NFL level, and it's kind of skewing what we thought of Teddy Bridgewater when he was playing at Louisville. And when I saw that on Twitter, I wish I could remember who said it first. I'm sorry. I wish I could give you a shout out, but I love the comp. I really do love the comp because Teddy was somebody who I absolutely loved. And if Teddy doesn't go through his injury that he went through in Minnesota, maybe we're talking about a different story for him. I don't know exactly how much it would make a difference, but I thought that he was getting better. I thought he was playing better. And then obviously that injury was just catastrophic for him. And
I think it was Ryan Roberts, by the way, not to cut you off.
Was it Ryan?
I saw Ryan tweet out that comp at some point over the week. And I was like, yep.
Well, salute to Ryan, because I did. When he said it, I was like, I love it. And Bridgewater, back end of the first round quarterback, he was somebody who I thought should have been picked higher in that draft. And I feel as though Shedeur is kind of that same mold right now. I know there were conversations about him potentially competing for QB3. I think that he would have needed a win over Oregon or the win over or USC to kind of have that kind of hype to him, because for as much as it is tape evaluation, there's a lot of hype that goes into how highly you are drafted, especially as a quarterback as well. So I feel as though Shedeur at the end of the day, could be wrong. He could just catch fire and just continue to be incredible. But back end of first round, early second round is kind of where I feel like his status is going to land. And if that's the case, I don't think he's going to go. Like, I think his dad's going to kind of say like, hey man, look at all the young talent that we're going to get next year as well. Colorado's going to be even better next year as well. You're now already firmly on the radar. You're getting better receivers. We'll have a better O-line next year. We'll upset more teams next year. And obviously
Travis Hunter's staying.
Right. And obviously he gets to play for his dad for another year. So I would tell you he's probably going to stay. What I would do if I was him, I'd also probably stay. Honestly, now I'm thinking about this question for the first time, but this quarterback class is loaded this year. If you don't have to fight it, don't fight it. Like, I think he's going to be just as good, if not better, next season. Now, do I think he's going to go to the moon next season? I don't know. We'll see. But if you don't have to fight this quarterback class, don't. Especially if you're kind of like a fringe first round pick now. So, if he was for sure top 10 pick kind of a player, you go. But I don't know if his stock's really going to get up to that point. There's still some limitations, I feel like, with his game that he still needs to take that next step when it comes to seeing things and recognizing progression even a little bit quicker. The ball placement and the accuracy and the clutch factor have just been brilliant from him. But it's the arm strength. It's going to get his arm strength is not as good, and it's going to get measured against guys like JJ McCarthy, guys like Drake Maye, guys like Caleb Williams. Like these players who have these cannons for arms, and I think that his arm is good enough to succeed at the NFL level. But again, it goes back to the Bridgewater comp. That's kind of how I felt with Bridgewater. He doesn't have this howitzer of an arm, but it's good enough to succeed at the NFL level, and he's accurate, and his ball placement was good enough to play. So that's a really long answer. I feel like I'm rambling now, but I'm thinking about it for the first time. I think he stays, and I'd probably tell him to stay too.
I think we live in a world now where Shedeur is obviously very marketable anyway. He plays quarterback. Totally. He's an exciting player. He's got the wrist celebration, like he does his own thing. He's obviously at a program where there's a lot of tension. And I say all of that, meaning there should be great NIL opportunities for this young man where
100%.
he's not just playing for free, which is very important and good for him. And I think most importantly, Trevor, is the point you made that the situation at Colorado should only get better on top of his draft situation, should actually only get better, because you would be eluding a quarterback class that should be just as deep as 2021, should be just as deep as, like, you have the blue chip, no doubter, number one at the top, we think, in Caleb. I think Drake Maye will have higher grades league-wide than Zach Wilson had. And I think that there's still the depth that class had, where you had Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Mac Jones. You said it. You have J.J. McCarthy. You have Michael Penix. You have Bo Nix. You have probably Riley Leonard. Probably.
Right, yeah.
And a lot more. There's
Penix
a lot.
Penix and Nix are two more names who I think just the arm talent is higher.
Right.
Doesn't mean they're going to be better quarterbacks. We'll figure that out. But the raw arm talent, if you don't have to match yourself up against some of those arms, maybe it does behoove him to go back.
Yep.
All right, we'll get to my next one. Before we do that, this time of year, it's fall. It's for getting back into the routines, the back to school routine, the back to work routine. You're forming your checklist. And the most important task on that checklist should be securing your family's financial future, starting with life insurance. Fabric by Gerber Life makes it quick, easy, and affordable to protect your family so you can get back to enjoying life. They're designed by parents for parents to help you get high quality, surprisingly affordable term life insurance in less than 10 minutes. Fabric has flexible policies that fit your family's budget, with quality policies like $1 million coverage for less than $1 a day. Get your personalized quote in just minutes, and then apply when it's convenient for you, all online to your schedule. You can go from start to covered in less than 10 minutes with no health exam required. Join the thousands of parents who trust Fabric to protect their family. Apply today in just minutes at meetfabric.com/stock exchange. That is MEET fabric.com/stock exchange. Policies issued by Western and Southern Life Insurance Company, not available in certain states. Prices subject to underwriting and health questions. All right, time for my next one. This one kind of goes into your first question a little bit. I want you to put in your crystal ball. I want you to answer this.
What is the order of the top 5 at the end of the season?
So you tell me who's picking top 5, and you tell me the order.
All right. I will say the Bears pick number 1 overall.
With their pick or with Carolina?
I was trying to cheat it.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I'll say
I want an answer.
Their pick.
Okay.
I'll say with their pick.
Okay.
The Bears pick. Now, the funny thing is with the Bears, although I guess this is kind of a totally irrelevant point because they just lost to the Broncos, the Bears' schedule is not insane. Like, you would think
is it kind of winnable?
There's games where you think they could steal one out. Like, they play the Raiders at home. They're home against the Raiders in a couple weeks. They play the Panthers, as you and I nicknamed the Caleb. Well, it's not the Caleb Williams Bowl, obviously. That's not the Caleb Williams Bowl, but which is hilarious because they own both picks.
Right? I mean, it kind of is.
Yeah. I was trying to frame it the right way, and it just was total, word vomit.
It is.
They played the Cardinals are pesky. I'm not considering the Cardinals a layup game anymore. Shout out to Josh Dobbs.
Nice word. Good word.
Chicago. Okay, so I'll go Bears #1 with their own pick. I'm gonna say, oh man, this is really tricky.
By the way,
I'll say the Broncos pick #2 overall.
Ooh, the spice factor.
Man, I think I feel like Sean Payton just hates everyone there. We're going to a
tie joint. My guy's out here ordering tie hot #2 overall.
Let's go.
I can't do that, by the way. My stomach would not.
Oh no, it's brutal. It's brutal out here.
Okay. So just to give some people some analytics, because this is a PFF podcast, the Chicago Bears have the 26th toughest schedule remaining, according to our simulations. The Denver Broncos have the 5th toughest schedule remaining, and they are only scheduled to have an average wins. This is again through all the simulations that we do. Denver's average win total is 6.2 wins. Chicago #1 at 5.1. And then I'll read the other ones off as we kind of get to them. Sorry. So you're saying Chicago 1, Denver 2.
Yeah, if Denver loses to the Jets and Denver's at home this weekend, they have the Chiefs and the Bills as 3 of their 4 games after that. Chiefs twice and the Bills.
Oh, it's easy.
It's super easy.
Yeah,
layup win. So Denver at #2. I'll go with the Panthers, the pick is owned by Chicago at 3.
Okay. Panthers average wins 5.1. So also tied with Chicago. And the Panthers have the 22nd easiest schedule remaining. They had a pretty easy schedule going into the year. So
okay. Then I'm gonna say, man, I might go with the Raiders at 4.
All right.
I think I'm going to go with the Raiders at 4, which they're a weird one because when Jimmy's healthy, they have a capable offense. But I don't think we've seen it on the internet. They don't like their head coach at all.
No.
Devontae Adams, I don't really think wants to be there. It's kind of feels like a powder keg ready to explode.
They're great term. How many times did your dad use powder keg when you were growing up? Because mine used it all the time.
I can't remember.
Anytime there was any like wacky screwed up situation, he'd be like, yeah, it's a powder keg. And it'd like me at like 6 years old, I'd be like telling my friends at the playground, I'd just be like, yeah, it's a powder keg,
Just, your third grade teacher's like, what the hell did this kid just say?
We're playing Foursquare and there's just a ruckus going on. Teacher comes over, she's like, what's going on here? I'm just like, yeah, it's a powder keg.
Powder keg. Oh man, that's something. If the day ever comes that I have children, like the stuff I'm going to accidentally say around them that they will parrot to school is my biggest fear. So, okay. So the Raiders I have at 4, and they're a better team than that, but it just feels like a situation that's not going very well.
Raiders average wins 6.9. And they have the 19th toughest schedule remaining. So, lower half of the league, but we have them as at 6.9 average wins.
You ready for #5?
Oh, I'm ready.
The New York Giants.
Oh, buddy, I'd have them higher.
I honestly think the Raiders are a better team than the Giants, but it's the whole AFC, NFC.
This was the tie-in teaser that I had with Daniel Jones, because when we got to this question, I knew that if you hadn't already looked at the Giants schedule, you were going to look at the Giants schedule and go, oh, God. This might get the Giants schedule moving forward. I cannot remember if we talked about this on the show on Monday, but Giants schedule moving forward. It is the #1 most difficult schedule in our system and in our simulations moving forward. It's the toughest schedule in the NFL. They go at Dolphins, at Bills, then Commanders and Jets, then Raiders, Cowboys, at the Cowboys, Commanders again. Then it's the Patriots. Then it's the Packers. Then at New Orleans, at Philadelphia versus the Rams, Philadelphia to end the season. That is brutal. Find me 5 wins for the Giants on their schedule this season. I can't find you 5 wins. You can't do it.
Not find you 5 wins.
You cannot do it.
As I'm sitting here, you want to talk about powder keg?
We're going to get old takes exposed, but you can't.
Yeah, probably, which is fine. I think if you're a Giants fan, honestly, like, why do you want to pick outside the top 5 this season? The
No.
team's not good enough to matter in the playoffs. I would want the higher pick. It's just a matter of what they actually do with it, because I think ownership is so committed to Daniel Jones that for it to matter, they would need to take a quarterback unless they got. The problem is then you go down the whole road of, Fashanu and all, but they just took Evan Neal. And as I sit here and see this, Evan Neal had just took a blowtorch to the fan base, literally while we were recording the show.
Oh, what did he say?
He said among his comments, this is from Daryl Slater, who covers the team for NJ Advanced Media.
Okay.
Among his comments, so this is just a slice. Why would a lion concern himself with the opinion of a sheep? The person that's commenting on my performance, what does he do? Flip hot dogs and hamburgers somewhere? Buddy, this ain't Tuscaloosa.
Person who's flipping burgers.
These fans
and dogs,
in the tri-state
helping block
ain't gonna make you
block
friend.
some arteries. It might be doing a little bit more blocking than Evan Neal's doing. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying.
No, he went there. He did it to him.
That's all I'm trying to say. Look, I think that Evan Neal, obviously, like, I'm having fun. That's gonna get clipped, and I'm gonna regret that. And I'm sorry. It was a joke, and I think that Evan Neal could be perfectly fine.
Don't beat me up.
But he's struggling. Like, he really is. This is somebody. I loved the pick when it happened. I still think he's got a great outlook. It just takes some time for these guys, especially when you come from a level like Alabama and you got a great offensive line around you. And we talked about it a little bit on this show. Evan Neal was able to dominate because he was just physically bigger than a lot of the players that he was going up against at the college level. Doesn't really fly like that at the NFL. Very rare that you are just that big and strong that you could dominate pros. You really have to win with technique. You got to win with footwork. You got to win with flexibility, all this kinds of stuff. And so that could still be in the cards for Evan Neal. But I mean, yeah, depending on what direction they want to go, like, you go get Olu Fashanu, man, and you kick Evan Neal inside, all of a sudden you got Andrew Thomas on one side, you got Olu Fashanu on the other, you got Evan Neal sitting at guard, you got John Michael Schmitz sitting at center. Like, that could be nasty. So I'm saying
could be nasty. It could be a lot better than whatever the hell this has been.
Hit you with a little bit of a zinger, Giants fans, but then I showed you a roadmap to rebuild.
I mean, they're just sick right now.
We rose from the ashes.
I think the rational Giants fans, who have kind of accepted what the season has become, are probably sitting there, they probably want to hear that they're going to be picking top 5, because once again, what does a couple wins do for you right now? You'll get a couple, but what does 6 wins do for you right now?
Neal's already given up 25 pressures this year.
He's had the season from hell. This complete season from hell. There's no way around it.
That's not good. All right. So your top 5 then was Bears, Broncos, Panthers, but Bears.
Yes.
Raiders, and then Giants.
Yep.
Okay. That's if I were doing this exercise, I think it's going to be Bears with their own pick at 1.
You want to say it, you just can't spit it out.
Which one? The Giants at 2?
Yeah, you're saying the Giants at 2.
I kind of think it's going to be the Giants. No, they're going to figure it out a little bit more than that. No,
Dable is still a very good coach.
Bears via the Panthers, Giants, Raiders, Broncos. Is that who I would go with? Where's the power rankings? What do we got here? Broncos. Oh, Vikings. No, it's going to be the Broncos. All right, so we were close to the same order. All right, are you next? Or am I next?
I'm next.
Okay.
It's kind of a little fun one here. So the caveat that...
The other ones haven't been fun?
I'll say the caveat after you have to read it.
All right. Better dynasty value, Drake Maye or Marvin Harrison Jr.?
Superflex, obviously. Most dynasty leagues are.
Oh, so you're talking from a pure fantasy football perspective.
Yep. Dynasty league. Your dynasty draft is today. Sorry that you do that. I do know people that play in high-stakes dynasty leagues that draft before the players get drafted, which is wild. Obviously, the league you and I are in, Trevor, we don't do that.
That's just pure talent evaluation.
And that's kind of what I'm throwing at you here.
Well, I have Marvin Harrison Jr. one spot ahead of Drake Maye on the big board. So I might have to say Marvin Harrison Jr.
But quarterbacks are king in Superflex. But a guy that you think could be a top 3 wide receiver at the NFL level
Drake,
is also.
and Drake can run. Like, he's got a little bit of scoot to him.
Drake is going to be insanely valuable in Dynasty, but it's also Marvin Harrison Jr. This makes me feel a lot better about the question that you didn't have like a definitive response.
Yeah. I'd probably go Marvin Harrison Jr.
He's safer.
Yeah.
He's safer.
He is safer. Yeah. So I'll take the
I think I'd go Drake Maye.
Oh, you are going to go with Drake Maye?
I think I'd go with Drake Maye.
Is it just because of the rushing angle? Like, he's going to give you the rushing?
In the super flex angle, I'm in a league right now where I'm trying to rebuild my quarterback depth chart, and I was lucky enough to be bad enough last year. This isn't the league you and I are in. It's in another one. I was lucky enough to be bad enough last year that I had the number 2 pick, so I got Anthony Richardson.
Oh,
but I'm so thin at quarterback that I'm still trying to fill the second spot. And it just kind of proved to me this is the first Dynasty League I ever did. I clearly, was learning while doing this for the first time. Please come back, Tom Brady. I'm begging you. I haven't given up on you yet.
We did it. So I was in a Dynasty League where I think, look, you know how it goes. Anybody out there who's done Dynasty Leagues before, sometimes you get a group of people who are like, yeah, let's do a Dynasty League. The league will last 3 years, 4 years max.
Right.
And then people will stop caring about it and you won't do the league anymore. It'll be fine. So I only cared about the first 2 years of the league when we did this Dynasty League that I signed up for. And I went old and talented as hell. Yep. I had Gronk. I had Brady. I had all these dudes that were just going off in their later years. And I didn't end up winning the title, but I got close. So that was just, I guess, the story of my fantasy football life, though.
All right.
Okay, so this one is, I think there can be layers to this question. I'm going to start it off by saying this. Well, let's first talk about this from the perspective of the Cincinnati Bengals. And then we can talk about this question as a broader team outside of the Bengals maybe trading for this player. And that is this question here.
Second contract, Tee Higgins or 2024 first round wide receiver.
So Higgins' contract is up at the end of this season. He is projected to probably get top 10 wide receiver money.
I say top 5.
Okay, top 5 wide receiver money. If you are the Bengals, this year's not going so hot for them. So let's just say they're picking somewhere between 10 and 20. You might have the opportunity to pick any wide receiver not named Marvin Harrison Jr. in this upcoming draft. Would you rather take a first-round wide receiver on a rookie contract or sign Tee Higgins to that second contract if you were the Bengals?
Will somebody trade me a first-rounder for T?
Well, let's talk about the trade aspect of it in a second.
Okay.
Would you, given the Bengals' current situation, because we'll talk about what we feel like the Bengals should do in a second, but given the Bengals' current situation, you just signed Burrow, right?
Got to pay Jamar.
Jamar is coming up next. Are you entertaining bringing T back on that kind of a contract if you are the Bengals? Or are you just saying, nope, let's go get a first-round wide receiver?
So you said top 10, I said top 5. The answer probably actually lies somewhere in the middle. So Diggs is the 5th highest paid receiver in the league. He makes an average of $24 million a year.
And T's going to make a little less than that, but
I think T's going to make a little less than that. The problem is the 10th highest paid, I believe, is Keenan Allen, who makes 20. It's going to be more than that. It's probably right around Terry McLaurin, who makes 23.2.
Yeah, I would agree.
So say Jamar is going to be the highest paid receiver in the league. Say
Jamar's at least going to be, I don't know what it's, top 4. Let's just call it top 4,
and
whatever.
Here's the issue, though, with that. Justin Jefferson is going to get paid before Jamar.
Right.
So Tyreek makes 30 a year right now. Jefferson is going to ask for more. Like, I think Jamar's going to get 30 mil a year like Tyreek did. So
Mhm.
can you really allocate over 50 million to them? I guess you could, in theory. But oh, this is brutal. Because also T is 24, so it's not like you can make the argument,
He's
well,
young and he's good.
he's young and he's really good and he should ask for wide receiver one money.
That's the conversation that we had with your first question. Like, we're talking about a situation where
this is brutal.
I think surface level, a lot of people would immediately go, yeah, 2024 first round rookie that's not Marvin Harrison. Like, give me Keon Coleman, give me Malik Neighbors, give me any of those wide receivers.
Buka,
right. And people would be cool with it. But those guys haven't played it down yet. And if you move on from Tee Higgins, even if you tell yourself we're going to draft a first round wide receiver, one, you don't know who it is. And two, they still haven't played it down in the NFL yet. Tee Higgins has played it down in the NFL. He's pretty damn good when he's healthy. And obviously when things are going a little bit better than they are for the Bengals offense currently.
So people are going to be kind of shocked by this, but I think I'm going to pay Tee Higgins.
Okay.
Because my argument is the translation rate of the type of receiver Tee Higgins is pretty awful. And what I mean by that is the jump ball above the rim wide receiver. Tee Higgins caught 19 of his 33 contested catches last year.
That's pretty incredible.
That's insane at the NFL level. He caught 8 touchdowns.
Pretty incredible.
I can sit here
for reference for people, just because I know this off the top of my head because I just wrote an article about it. Everybody thinks that Keon Coleman is like this god of contested catches, and he is great. I'm not taking anything away from it. He has hauled in 4 of his 14 contested catches this year. Now, those 4 have all been on SportsCenter. So they've been incredible. They've been clutch. Yeah. They've basically all been for touchdowns. So, I mean, like, those are impactful. I'm not trying to take anything away from it. But when you think about how good Tee Higgins has been in that category at the NFL level, 19 of 33 is nuts.
I'm paying T. I am not going to fall victim as a man who does the draft year round like yourself to that the grass is always greener. Even in a great wide receiver class, you found one at pick 33. In this era of the NFL salary cap where because of the TV deals, this thing is going to explode even further than it already has. I'm going to pay T and make the rest of my team better with that pick.
So now we can bring in the conversation about
what is he worth?
Right. Because I don't think you can get a first rounder for Tee Higgins. I don't.
Damn.
Simply because not that he is not. If it's in a vacuum, you could get a first rounder for Tee Higgins. I just made the argument for a wide receiver that we talk about as a top 10 pick, top 20 pick coming up.
Because of the money.
It's because you have to trade a top asset for him and then pay him a crap ton of money. There's just not a lot of teams that have the ability to do that or would want to do that. If the Bengals can find somebody to give them a first round pick for Tee Higgins, I think they should take it. I really do. Now, the next couple of the next couple of weeks, we'll get a much clearer picture of that. But I think that's the way that I'm leaning because you're going to have to pay Jamar Chase. You've already got Orlando Brown on contract. You got DJ Reader on contract. You got Trey Hendrickson on contract. Joe Burrow is obviously there if I didn't mention Joe Burrow. But like you already have a ton of money allocated to a lot of other players. You're in a winning window, so that's okay. You want to be in that spot. But I think this is where I would say if you can get a premium draft asset for him that is better than the comp pick that you would lose if you let him walk.
I would franchise tag him. I would never let him walk.
Oh, sure. Okay. So like that option is there as well. Certainly while they're in their window and while they don't have to pay Chase yet, you franchise tag him. I think that makes sense. But I think I'd lean. I think I would lean not giving him the contract.
Okay.
In Cincinnati.
You ready for my fun one?
Not that he's not worth it. Again, I want to make sure that's very, very clear. Not that he is not worth it. Just for Cincinnati and where they're at. I don't know about that. Yeah, hold on. I'll get your phone in a second. We're back with another
fun yourself.
We are back with another week of football. Fun week of football, I should say. And DraftKings Sportsbook is keeping us in on the NFL action with great offers every single game day. New customers can bet just $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Throw down 5 on any of this week's fun and epic matchups, and you walk away an instant winner. DraftKings season stopping there. All customers can take advantage of 2 new offers every single game day this September. Football is more fun when you're in on the action, so download the app now. Sign up with the promo code PFF. New customers can bet just $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL with promo code PFF. The crown is yours. If you got a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problems with gambling at 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. Licensee partner Golden Nugget, Lake Charles, 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms for eligibility, terms, and responsible gambling resources as well. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility, deposit restrictions apply. Hit me with the fun one. Let's go. Let's do it.
This'll really stir it up.
Okay. Do you recline on a plane?
We're about to see how much longer this podcast exists.
No, I don't.
Good lad. I knew you wouldn't.
There have been. Now, obviously, if I look back and there's nobody behind me, yeah, I'll recline.
That's a different ballgame, partner.
Right. But there have been
We're talking packed house.
There have been so many times when I've just been so absolutely tired. And there were, I mean, in my youthful plane flying days, I used to kind of just recline and I was like, yeah, it's not going back that far. What's the big deal? And then somebody did it to me one time and I was like, oh, what a
turntable.
What is pulling me on me? So
that's so fun having someone sit in your lap and take a nap on the plane.
Right. And so I don't do that anymore. I am not a plane seat recliner. No, right. I there's so much plane etiquette that is so wild that I feel like I see people taking their shoes off.
The bare feet.
Oh, what are you doing? I am somebody who like
terrific.
I'm from the wild state of Florida. Okay.
Yeah, there's no rules.
We grew up barefoot. All right. Like it's just like, I'm not somebody who we even like wears socks in the house that much, or, my fiance kind of likes it when I don't have my bare feet everywhere. But like normally I wouldn't wear socks in the house. Like sometimes I'll walk the dog in the little yard next to us and it's bare feet. But even I would never even fathom taking my shoes off on a plane. Come on, people.
Planes are disgusting.
You're in a tin can 30,000 feet up there.
Yep. A tin can full of germs that usually smells like shit half the time, depending where you're sitting.
I also can't. I won't. Like I will not fart on a plane.
I mean, it's like you truly do not respect society.
I won't do it, man.
Like
I've been on flights where people are just ripping them. And
dude,
I'm like, you can't have a soul.
What are we doing? Like you don't care about the better good of society if you're letting that go. You absolutely do not. It is.
I wonder if there's people listening to this podcast that are like, no, it's a 2-hour flight. Like if I gotta rip one, I gotta rip one.
I gotta go.
If anything, I will. Like, that's the thing.
It's so easy.
You get it.
Keep your shoes on. Go to the bathroom if you got to fart. Don't recline onto someone's lap. These are not difficult things, man. We're not asking for much.
We're really not.
Don't give the flight attendant a hard time.
No, please. Yeah,
these are really easy things. Man, the carry-on wars of 2023.
Oh.
The carry-on wars. I had somebody, I think it was one of the times I was flying back. I can't remember if it was coming back from Europe or if I was traveling for college football. I had a dude grab my suitcase, like in the thing. I sat down on the plane.
Mm-hmm.
Move it? Yeah. So this is back when I traveled for work. So fortunately, I was boarding. I was flying almost every weekend then. So I was always zone 1. So I'd get on I'd never check a bag because time was everything back then. I'd like to get off the plane and go right where I had to go. And especially when I was going home. This is when I was going home. I put my luggage right above me like a normal human.
Mm-hmm.
And a dude comes on the plane like super late and grabbed my shit to move it. And you can imagine what my face and reaction looked like. Basically the hand was on it, and I was like, don't move one more muscle. I mean, grabbing someone's luggage is
You're like in a John Wick movie. Is like one more move.
it's worse than farting on the plane. Like, and the bar of that is super high to clear. Man, people that travel, they are something else.
Yeah. It's being in an airport and being on a plane, you learn a lot about the human race.
You do.
Yeah, we're going to learn a lot more about the human race, particularly Connor Rogers, from this last question that we have here, which is a very intricate one. And if you can't read all of it, I understand, but it is a famous meme, and you guys can look this up and you can get a little bit more clarity on it. But have you ever seen this meme? And can you read it?
To defend you, the rest try to kill you too. Oh, to defend you, the rest. Yes. Okay. I know exactly where this is going.
You have to pick two of these, and then the rest are trying to come to kill you.
Okay. Yes, I have seen this, and this is the first time I'm giving it legitimate thought. So 2 are fighting on my side no matter what. I'm absolutely taking the 5 gorillas. For anybody listening to this, if you don't take the 5 gorillas, you are already dead, because the 5 gorillas will defeat you and whoever your allies are. Gorillas are the most savage animals that walk this earth since the dinosaurs died.
I agree with you completely. Hold on. Let me read them. Let me read them off just so the people listening audio only know if they haven't seen it before. So the categories, and you get to pick 2 of these: 50 eagles, 10 alligators, 3 grizzly bears, 7 bulls, 1 guy with a shotgun. So like a human with a shotgun, 15 wolves, 10,000 rats, 5 gorillas.
God.
Or 4 lions. So you have to pick 2 of these, and then the rest are coming to kill you. So you're going with 5 gorillas.
I'm going with 5 gorillas.
Okay, here. No, I got to keep.
I don't want you to hold it the whole time.
No, it's fine.
I'll tell you what. The 10 alligators are out. They're not on my side. 7 bulls are out. Too sloppy. 4 lions. Not enough manpower. As much as I do love myself some lions by my side. 15 wolves are very, very good
strategic
fighters.
Yeah,
they're very strategic. They're very smart. They fight in a pack. They know how to cover a lot of territory. 3 bears are out, as much as bears are an absolutely great companion.
We got the gorillas.
Very strong. They're slow. The gorilla is the more powerful version of the bear, and I have 5 of them. So as much as rats are pathetic, it's pretty hard to overcome 10,000 of them if they are attacking you. Like, they're trying to kill me.
Yeah.
I unfortunately think I have to take the 10,000 rats, because you take the 10,000 rats hoping that they're enough of a distraction for everything else trying to attack you, and me and the gorillas can actually go to work on what's left of everyone else.
You said me and the gorillas as if it was just like the boys chilling, going to get Modelo's on a Friday at 5. Like,
I feel better about my odds. I think the toughest opponent is probably the Eagles, because they have the aerial attack. I'm hoping that the 50 Eagles are distracted and go after the 10,000 rats. So say 50 of the Eagles go after 1,000 rats. Me and the gorillas definitely have our hands full. Like, the guy with the gun is going to kill one of the gorillas, and then he's going to die from another gorilla.
100%. Yeah.
We're probably not able to beat the wolves. That's the tough part. It's pretty
Wolves are tough. You gotta, you and a couple of the gorillas, the KD has to be like above, like it's got to be above 2.5.
I mean, we're pumping out like Hall of Fame numbers,
because I think the rats could do a lot of damage for you.
The rats are the sneaky one. It's
my
numbers.
answer is also 5 gorillas and 10,000 rats.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I didn't know. I was wondering your strategy.
No, that is also my answer, because the sheer numbers of it, like, you can't, like, there's no other combination that you can have that defeats the 10,000 rats.
Exactly.
There's no other. If you let the other side have the 10,000 rats, you got no chance.
You have no chance. You have to take them even as much as you don't want to, because it's not a sexy pick.
Right. Because how many rats would it take to kill a gorilla? Like what? 200? Just like, they're ravenous.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so like what? 200? All right. So to kill all 5 gorillas is only going to take 1,000 rats. Then you get 9,000 more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you go the numbers game, the rats.
It's an analytical pod, so you got to go the numbers game.
Yeah, exactly. We're just playing the data. Basically, I thought, like, what's that route to surviving the longest? And if you don't include the 10,000 rats, well, you're dead right away. And if you don't include the gorillas, you're dead pretty quickly. Like, you can't really escape a gorilla.
Right.
Rest in peace, Harambe, of course.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that has to be the combo. The one that really tore me up was I do like the wolves because of the pack mentality and the strategy. And they're fast. They're really fast. Like the speed of the wolves had me intrigued. But you have enough speed with the stupid rats. Rats are fast when they want to be. Yeah, that's the answer.
This is a tried and true meme. So if anybody wants to Google it while we're going through this, you can do. I think it's literally just called like to defend you. The rest are coming to kill you, and it's going to be the first thing that you find.
I when that was hot, that meme, and it still is. It's one of an all timer.
Yeah,
it blew my mind how majority of society underestimates the gorilla.
Right.
Like people treat gorillas like they're, I don't know, pretty weak on the animal chain.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the gorilla could probably take the guy with the gun and rip every one of his limbs off pretty quickly.
Oh, with ease. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the gorilla could, like you said, like depending on what kind of gun the human being has, like if the human just has a shotgun, he might get 2 shots off, and the gorilla that he even shot would probably still rip his face off.
He's not getting one reload.
No.
He's not getting one reload.
No.
Even with sleight of hand.
But one-man army, then you can think about if you got one-man army, then all you need is 25 kills. You got a nuke, and then it's over.
And it's over. But everyone's dead. So no, it's true. Oh, that was perfect.
And then we're back. To
I'm curious what the comments think. I personally love the format of this show. This is the most fun I've had on any podcast in a really, really long time. And we're not saying it's gonna be something we do every week, but when we're sprinkling in, it's a good way to catch up on hot topics and then also do our usual summer nonsense, a slice of our summer nonsense.
Well, I hope this was a really good, combination of those things, because I think we hit some nice NFL topics. We're not overloading on what you might be seeing elsewhere and some other shows that, no slight to them, are fantastic, covering the league in their own way, but we're always trying to be a little bit different. This last ad read that we have is actually very topical for the last 2 questions that we had. Our friends at Manscaped are back. We're brought to you today by Manscaped, who has taken a step up from Balloween to bring your face the cleanest shave it's ever seen. So this season, no need to toil and trouble. Manscaped's all-new Handyman is the best way to get rid of that stubble. Featuring a compact design and next-gen skin-safe technology, the Handyman was designed to give you that smooth finish without the mess of a traditional shave. Get the sweetest treat this Halloween by going to manscaped.com and using the promo code PFF to get 20% off plus free shipping. 20% off, free shipping using the promo code PFF at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with the promo code PFF, free shipping, manscaped.com. Looking for something as sweet as candy, get yourself a Handyman from our friends over at Manscaped. All right, brother. It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. I think that's a show.
You got anything else before we get out of here?
No, not really. I'm looking forward to, I think, the return of What Matters Most next week. Do I have that right?
Yeah, we'll do What Matters Most. Yeah,
we'll do What Matters Most. We'll jump into some stock watch at some point in the week, as we always do. Keep you guys updated on the latest with the NFL draft. And that's it for me. Yeah, man. No, good times.
Good. No, it is. It's going to be good times. We got more great college football coming up. What was it? Did you see the thing that was going around Twitter the other day where it's like, we just started 55 straight days of football. Like it's either college football or NFL football is on for like
it's because Maction is Tuesday, Wednesdaying again.
Yeah, I think so.
And then you always have a Friday game.
Thursday night football, the Friday night game, Saturday slate, Sunday NFL.
This is
Monday Night Football.
Nobody lives for this more than my father, by the way. Like when Maction starts on Tuesday and Wednesday, he usually calls me.
He's trying to get bets in.
And he's not even. That's the sickest part of it, because the reason I watch Tuesdays and Wednesdays is usually
he's just watching Raw Dog. Nothing.
He's just raw talking Tuesday and Wednesday football. I mean, this is the type of, like, he was the first person I knew that ever talked about Carson Steele, because Carson Steele.
Oh yeah.
before he transferred to UCLA, was playing for Ball State as an underclassman.
Right.
He's like, dude, you got to see this kid on Ball State. Like, I watched the game last night, and I'm like, it was Wednesday. What do you? And he's like, oh, there's games on Wednesday. And I'm like, and he gets really depressed.
That's how you're scouting for you. He said the big board.
He really does. He genuinely finds me usually 2 to 3 players every year, which is some of my secret sauce. So
that's incredible.
It is very, very funny. I appreciate his raw appreciation of football being on every single night of the week.
Well, we know that your dad's going to enjoy football the rest of the week. You guys enjoy it as well. We'll be back with you on Monday to give you what matters most from the upcoming week in the NFL. I'm Trevor Sikkema. That is Connor Rogers. Thank you guys so much for listening to the NFL Stock Exchange podcast. We'll see you on Monday.